The substance. As with any review, this may contain spoilers. I really hoped I was going to enjoy this movie because the trailer looked intriguing. I liked the first half, but the second half was awful. The story follows Elisabeth Sparkle, played by Demi Moore, who is a TV fitness instructor. She overhears an executive at the show wanting to fire her and replace her with someone young and new. Elizabeth, in a desperate move, decides to use a mysterious drug that promises a better, younger version of oneself. This younger version calls herself Sue and is played by Margaret Qualley. The drug has multiple steps that need to be done, with the most important one being that they need to swap every 7 days. What that means is that while one is out in the world, the other is in a state of hibernation. The film is a sensationalized version of Hollywood. The story explored Hollywood's tried and true story of getting rid of the old for the next young star. The concept of the story is interesting, but what the story decided to focus on was too superficial. I was hoping for a more grounded take on an older star pursuing youth, with it ultimately becoming a horror story. That did happen, but in the silliest way possible. When she takes the drug and the younger version appears, that's when the story started to go downward for me. It didn't make sense. How could a fully formed person, let alone a fully formed adult person, come out of another person without killing them? It would make more sense if the drug had the older self shed the aging skin, hair, and everything else and form a newer, younger self in the way that a snake does. After 7 days, the skin and other features would revert back to the older self. That premise I can buy into more. That didn't happen, and the filmmakers decided to have two separate versions, the older and younger versions. Okay, let's accept the premise we got. Even though that wouldn't be my top choice, let's go with it. Since it's two separate versions, I wanted to see communication between the two because while one is out in the world, the other is in hibernation at home, and so they're not sharing memories and experiences. I wanted each of them to inform the other of what they've been up to so they could help each other out. That's the only way I could see this working out. For example, the younger version needs a new identity and documentation because she can't claim to be Elizabeth. When Sue gets the job replacing Elizabeth, I wanted to see them celebrate each other. While they may not be able to celebrate together, they could at least show the other appreciation in other ways. Things like that would have made the story far more interesting. Instead, after the first week or two, the younger version was already sabotaging the swap. That did need to happen, but not so quickly. The story needed more scenes of the younger version needing or running out of time before having to swap back with the older version. This would then cause a sense of desperation in the younger version to continue beyond the 7 days. That did happen, but as I mentioned, that came along far too quickly. An interesting aspect of the story was the repercussions the older version would get when the younger version delayed the swap. It was never shown that the older version made it clear to the younger version that her delaying the swap was affecting the older version in a negative way, and I found it odd not to show that. An aspect of the movie that I didn't enjoy was the direction. It was shot like a music video, which didn't allow the scenes to breathe. Something always had to be happening on the screen. It was cut after cut after cut. Essentially, it was too stylized for my liking. As far as the acting in the movie, Demi Moore did a pretty good job, although at times you could see a bit of rustiness, especially in scenes where she had to amp up the drama. Overall, I had more of an issue with the story than her acting. Margaret Qualley, on the other hand, got the short end of the stick in this film. I've seen her in other movies and she's a really good actress. This role didn't give her much to work with. The story was more focused on showcasing her beauty, in which, look, she's gorgeous, but it lacked giving her a role with, no pun intended, substance. Overall, the movie started off well, but by the end, I disliked it. However, that doesn't mean you wouldn't enjoy it more than I did, and it may be worth watching. If you stuck around this long, why not give the video a like, try it out, see if it works, subscribe, check out my other videos, leave a comment, let me know what you think of the film. See you in the next review.